So as we move toward the high holidays, if Rosh Hashanah stands for, among its many themes, is the sovereignty of the divine, and on a practical sense, what sovereignty of the divine means is we live according to divine law. If it's sovereign, it has a law, we live according to it. Now, unfortunately, in my mind, the different denominations of Judaism interpret the law to mean something which is easy and not hard. Okay? So, for example, when I look at an Orthodox text, it sometimes says, follow the law, which is the halakha. If you're halachic, you are a godly, transformed person. We all have met Orthodox Jews, some fine, distinguished, holy people, and many who aren't. Following Jewish law does not make you a better person. Okay? I grew up in the conservative movement, which was support the Jewish people, support the state of Israel, know your history. A lot of people who are Zionists know their history, support the Jewish people, and they're not very good people interpersonally. We've all met them. Okay? So supporting Israel and knowing your history and studying Jewish ethics does not make you a better person. I know Reform Jews, where follow the law means support social action causes, help the poor, help those who are less fortunate. I know people who help the poor, help the less fortunate, and they're terrible to their family and terrible to their employees and are oftentimes not good and decent people. Their values are good. They may vote right, put money in the right place, but in their interpersonal lives, they cause a lot of havoc. So as I grew up and I looked at these different groups, and I thought to myself, realized for myself, nothing makes you a good person outside of the will to be a good person. That's it. If you don't have the will to be a good person, nothing is going to make you a good person. Not insight therapy, not being Reformed, Orthodox, or conservative. Nothing will make you a good person except the will to be a good person. So you have to have that will. And you have to define what you mean by good. And very, very briefly, a good person, minimally, avoids being a bad person, which is causing unnecessary harm to yourself or others. Very simple. Don't cause unnecessary harm to yourself or others. And benefit others, be righteous when you can. So you may go through an entire day and not be able to do a good deed, but you definitely can stop yourself from being harmful to yourself or other people. Okay? All kinds of ways. So when I think of the sovereignty of God on Rosh Hashanah, I want to live by the divine law. It doesn't matter to me whether you're Reform, Orthodox, conservative, atheist, agnostic, spiritual but not religious. It really doesn't matter to me which one of these identifies you halakhically, observant level. The only thing I care about, whatever of these groups you belong to, Jewish or not Jewish, doesn't really matter to me, is do you believe that there is something called a divine law that functions in the spiritual and moral world? It doesn't matter to me your theology, your observance level. Is there a divine law that exerts itself upon us in the spiritual and moral world? That's how I understand the sovereignty of the divine. So if we're moving toward a day where we want to be conscious of and accept the sovereignty of the divine, it takes a lot of thought, a lot of intentionality, a lot of care to arrive that day being fully mindful, fully aware, and fully open to that moment. Now, if you do... Sing, shalom, sing, shalom, sing, shalom, tova.